Good morning, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is David Okon, and thank you so much, everybody who have been helping in different ways, in words of encouragement, and also watching the videos, sharing, and subscribing to this channel. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to this channel. And we are talking about the cost of living as a theme, but this time we are focusing on the UK to look at the financial support given by the government to people who need it, and within rules of operating these policies and services. This is a continuation of the video, and please watch the other videos and then come along to watch this as well. And learning is important, knowledge is important, policies are important. So if you are not interested in benefit, even if you are not interested in financial information in the United Kingdom, even if you don't live in the United Kingdom, this information is important for you wherever you live, because what policy and practice occurs in the United Kingdom also happens in your country, given the world is becoming globalized. The world powers in every continent of the world, in every country, are now practicing capitalism, which is an economic system, which is actually also a political system, driven by most of the times by ideological and certain types of politics, where in the UK the government have now closed down the public sector, which is actually set to provide services for people who need help. These country, the United Kingdom, have chosen in the past, in history, to run Britain on behalf of the British people. But now things have changed. The government have really changed direction. It has sort of the country, privatized the country. The people of Britain may or may not be happy about it. They may or may not know about it, but the cost of living crisis is one of the evidence you can actually identify to determine that there is change. Government also have made so many pronouncements that they want to give the country back to the British people, and I believe the British people are either happy or not happy, depending who you are and your circumstance. Some people probably are happy about their government, their country being given back. Others may not be so happy because it depends on your circumstance. If you are actually a poor person, or it's very difficult to describe the British people as being poor, because Britain is the sixth richest country in the world, and even the British people actually find it so difficult, almost embarrassing, for someone perhaps like me or the British people themselves. I'm from Africa, and I've been living here for many years. This is my country now, but you know, for someone like me, it is so difficult to describe the British people as being poor, because the meaning is insulting. But it is actually true that people are living in poverty, and people may not realize it, because maybe a lot of people are actually getting credit, which means they borrow to supplement their income. Perhaps also, for example, we're having a lot of problem with mortgages. If you lose your job, or if you, for example, if you are actually working and then you decide to probably look after your parents, and your parents are elderly, and you decide to stop work and perhaps claim something called carers allowance, and then you begin to struggle to pay your mortgage, because the government does not actually pay mortgage. They pay something called support for mortgage interest, SMI, which is something you can find on gov.uk. and also perhaps in other websites, Citizen Advice, Shelter, and all the other charities which operate in the United Kingdom. And it is upon you now to look after yourself. Things have changed. And watch this video and the whatever information you can find. And if you're a kid, if you are an adult, it is important to take responsibility. Things have changed. Things have changed. Things are changing very quickly. With the weather now in the United Kingdom so cold, and you put in heater 24/7. Like in my case here, most of the time, the heater is owned, but it's so expensive that unless you are multimillionaire, you will struggle to really meet the basic, the cost of the basics. This is happening across the globe, not just in the United Kingdom. You watch the rest of my video, I've been talking about this over and again, and I'm so grateful for to YouTube to give me this opportunity for this platform, which is actually very special. I see this platform transforming lives. It is a social media function, but now even the main media like BBC or even other, Channel 4, everybody is now coming to the social media. So if you have an ability to actually join the platform, join it and own a channel like I do. And also, if you have a channel, you have to pray that you know how to navigate the around the rules of YouTubing, and you learn by the day. You learn by other YouTubers who are more experienced. Sometimes you learn you learn by mistake, and some mistakes for some people have led to their channels being taken down. And if you do channeling, you have to really expect that. And I actually value this platform because it's an opportunity for people to participate, to also speak, not just speaking, but also learning different skills, communication skills, research skills, but also, necessitating to really, because you interact with so many people, you look for information, and also you your responsibility to convey this information to other people. So social media is really helping. If you are allowed by the rule of the organization of the platform to open a channel, feel free to open the channel. It's quite expensive. You need equipment, and if you don't have much money, you have to really make sacrifices. Sometimes you have to start with less than adequate, material. I mean, normally it's very tempting to be perfectly ready, but I think the best way to approach the channeling is actually to get up and, get on with it and find a material, find a basic mobile phone. My channel is a work in progress. Every day on a daily basis, there's a slight improvement in addition to what, on top of what has been generally, improvement. And I'm so privileged, and I've been talking about the cost of living, and I chose this topic deliberately because it is what people have been talking about, and it's quite important that people pay attention either on my channel or other channels where they're talking about the cost of living crisis. I talk about it slightly differently. I try to look at the policy perspective, the political background. A lot of people actually find politics either, I'm not really saying politics per se, but it's specifically policy. Is in many ways quite complex, and even for me, but only for people who even create policies. And if you look at the benefit rules, they are quite, for me, I find them really complicated. And I've been talking about them, and you can also talk about them. These things are actually on the public domain. We live in the age of internet. You can actually Google any information you want online. And if you don't know how to use the internet, it's best to actually connect with someone who does. If you have a family member who knows how to use the internet, then by all means, get their assistance, if you have children, if you have siblings, especially younger people. Actually, social media is very young orientated. I mean, the topics also, the manner of operating in within the platform is actually young. Young people actually enjoy it. Serious topics, the type of my operating or my functioning may or may not interest young people. Statistically, the youngest of all the young operating are using the YouTube actually rarely watch this kind of material. But never mind, I have a plan because I'm actually building up. I need to get through this these materials because I want you to talk about the cost of living, because it's a major sign now of in fundamental changes. There are changes in the hospitals. If you go to the hospital now, there are changes on a daily basis. These changes are incremental, and you may or may not realize about the changes, but they're there, and you just have to look. And if you can't access ambulance as you used to, fire services, if you can't use emergency services, the police, or even if you are actually a criminal, you might not even enjoy living in prison the way you used to enjoy living in prison when you are in a rich country like Britain or Europe or America or even Asia. And I don't know about Africa. If you have been in prison in Africa, leave a comment below how nice or unnice. If you have been in prison in the developed world, let me know how it feels to be in a prison. But it might be exciting for some people, especially young people, being in prison. You don't pay rent. I don't know how it works exactly. If you're a prisoner. But these things are changing because most of the services are actually provided by government. If not all of these emergency services, they have been sold off. They have been sold off literally, and you may not even know that one thing or another has been sold off. The government said they're not going to privatize it. I'm not saying the government are liars, but if they are not lying to the British people, what are they doing? I mean, the National Health Service is sold off, is privatized. The Conservative Party in particular said to the British people they are not going to sell the National Health Service. But they did not only sell the National Health Service, they also sold of schools, they have sold of railways, public transport, airplanes, airlines, railways, road, road networks have been sold off. And whether people like it or not, leave a comment below. Would you like public service to be privatized? Are you enjoying your life? I don't think so, because you see, sooner or later, the majority of the British people are going to be poor. In a classical sense of the word poverty, nothing hidden, everything in the open. This I will be talking about. I've had this opportunity to speak, so I will do, and I'm so grateful. Subscribe to this channel and support it. I'm so happy that you have been around, and feel though we are now, I'm so optimistic that going forward things will get better, and we're going to improve things here and there. We have come such a long way. We are 1 year old now as a project, and we have been consistently slow, and you never know, like the weatherman will say it's not gonna rain. You wake up in the morning, it's just flooded with rain, and my channel, one or the other, one way I will wake up and this channel is all over the place. That's how I want more people to join and participate. But every time, everything has its time, and everything happens for a reason. So I'll put my head down and just talk about this topic. I really enjoy talking about it, and it is refreshing, and I've chosen now to focus a bit more on the universal credit is the financial help given to people who are on low income in the United Kingdom. And if you need help, then the best way is to claim it. And I've been discussing this and the rest of the video, how to claim it. We are still continuing with that. Actually, the single big is called universal credit. If you don't know what universal credit is, watch the other videos and leave a comment below. What do you want to know about universal credit? Or just Google online. I mean, if you're in China, if you're in Africa, most people have internet. Go to the library, go to community center, Google. Because I have actually explained it significantly. This is a continuation of the video. And you let me know if you know what universal credit is. It's a quiz for you. So universal credit is money given to people who need help, who are on low income. And so you have to know how to use the internet, because this is online. By rule, by exception, you can actually claim it in other ways. And you log in, you set up a login system like any other normal way of login facilities. And once you've done that, you can access your account online, which is actually supposed to be an improvement, and it is. Except if you struggle, then you may get help from one place to another. Like I said, it is easy to advertise help, but it is not really straightforward to get this help. You have to work and work and work. And I have already said on this video and elsewhere that if you want to succeed, you have to work hard. It doesn't matter who you are, even if you are King Charles III. I think it's King Charles III or the second. I think it should be King Charles III. King Charles. King Charles has to work. To be successful, he has to work. Everybody must work. If you don't work and you are successful, then you are successful in a specific way. And then somebody else is probably working for you in some way, in some specific way. And leave a comment below if you have been successful without working. Everybody works. I know sometimes, different people do different types of work. And there are people who, when you see them working, you think they are playing. Because, like now I'm working. I'm sitting here talking. This is work. It's a modern society. You see, the King Charles, sometimes he drives his own vehicle. Sometimes he opens his own door. He provides his own protection, but his status is different from the rest of the world. He works in a different way. Prince William and all the other members of the royal family, they work in different ways. Prime ministers, leaders, ministers, members of parliament, industrial leaders, multimillionaires like Elon Musk. And, if you're multimillionaires, you have a different status in society. You work in a different way. You probably tell other people what to do, and that's your job. And nothing is cheapened. Nothing should be despised, even if it appears as if some class of people don't really work, but they work. They work. Even thinking is a type of work, because if as you think, so you are. I mean, you are the type of person you are because of your mindset. And if you are a human being, sometimes you think, and then this is where it all starts. It starts in the mind. It starts in the mind, and also you learn, you read, you listen to videos. That's how people learn. You concentrate, or you take time off, you play, you pray. You build relationship with family, with friends. You get married, have children. These are actually process of living. I mean, somewhere along the line, there is some commitment, there's some kind of efforts to be made. even visiting friends, even, going out to shop, going shopping, buying nice things for yourself and for your friends, family, especially during Christmas time, Valentine's. We are looking forward to Valentine's in February. We are not far off. And then afterward, Easter events. These events actually are there so that people take some time of work to make life more bearable from work. And it's a form of wellness and welfare. And actually, it's a process of progress, which is actually to be welcomed. And if you go and mix and mingle with family and friends and have a laugh, and laughter is a form of medicine. It's distressing. If you are stressed, you go through your stress by having fun with family and friends, but in the end, everybody has to work. That's why there is no pretending that if you're a child, you just play and that's it. If you are a child, if you're a parent, your children should develop skills, life skills. One way or the other, we should now be easing out of a supermarket. I'm not seeing there's going to be fundamental change in the way we run our society, because technology is going to take over work from people. People will be doing nothing in terms of any meaningful work, because this generation may not experience this, but the signs are now there. We are actually beginning to see. We are now seeing the beginning of change, of technological input. Some of them are actually secret because they are business secrecy. Normally, we have artificial intelligence. I keep repeating these points; they are so important. Artificial intelligence and stuff like that. 3D printer. These are actually things I'm really interested in. I know virtually nothing. Literally, I don't know nothing about these things, but they fascinate me. I hear about them on the news. I probably read a little, but I don't really know anything about artificial intelligence. If you know anything about artificial intelligence, leave a comment below. If you know 3D printer, leave a comment below. And if you're watching this video, thank you so much. If you're not watching, thank you in advance, because one way or the other in the future, we are going to meet. You are going to meet me on this channel, and then we are going to have a chat. So you should keep your username and password written down. You should not keep your username and password. These are security, internet security. You shouldn't do that. You should keep it a secret. This is our information, basic login facilities, because they are online internet. We are claiming universal credit. These are some of the information you get. So, you could also use password manager on your phone. And if you have a phone, then you can use that. And these are there are free apps that can securely store usernames. So they can store usernames and passwords. I've only seen such an app, because they call our password manager. This is an app. If you know an app, if you don't know, then Google online to find out what an app is and leave a comment below what an app is. And then let me know. This can securely store username and password. So you will need a backup plan to remember your username and password. So in case you forget, if you choose to write them down, then you should keep them on a separate pieces of paper. The paper shouldn't refer to universal credit, help to claim, or citizen advice, or any of the organization, because these are actually secrecy. So if you get locked out of your account, then you can reset your password using the personal security number which you get from the DWP. Your first work and your first work coach meeting is a work coach, somebody called a work coach. These are advisors which actually administer the benefit system, and they will help you at the DWP to on the process of actually claiming benefit. And these are actually almost mundane information, but it's quite critical because the idea of universal credit, the idea of claiming and also managing your account is something called empowering, which is actually a way of saying you are now expected to behave like an adult. So the idea that children should grow up being dependent entirely on adults, not even knowing how to cook their own eggs, to cook their own breakfast. They can't clean the house if their parents are not there. They can't do anything. This might be in the past because there will come a time when society will have to even grow their own food, cook their own food. You can still have ready-made meals, but they are so expensive. Increasingly, ready-made meals are becoming increasingly expensive. The government is planning to actually tax ready-made meals. They call them junk food at the moment. Most of the food now being eaten by young people, by adults. They're addictive. I don't know what they put in this food. Once you eat it, you don't really stop eating them. It's creating obesity. People are growing fat and unhealthy. So the government is now planning to start taxing businesses which actually sell unhealthy food. Now, what that will mean is that businesses, especially small and medium businesses, will pass the cost of taxation to customers. That will mean that people who depend on affordable food will no longer afford it. It will be too expensive. People will start starving. Some people might even die of starvation. And a lot of, if the government tax actually businesses, small and medium businesses are going to shut down. And big corporations will start monopolizing the market and also controlling prices. And because they might not be able to, actually to make profit, big corporations will start shutting down because they are super rich anyway, and there's no point, running an organization if you don't make profit. So going forward, unless technology comes in a timely way to support big businesses, but even though they may not really be so interested in producing certain type of food, because like, why waste resources if you can save resources? And talk of cultural economy, where people actually use center, they actually operate society around humanity. It's in valuing humanity, because now we are actually coming to an age where we no longer, we value humanity, but we value money, wealth, and power, and all the other things. We seem to value it more than people. Now, if that continues, then the big organization, when they get technology, they will not really care to produce. Because if you're doing commerce, why would you waste your money investing in technology to produce food or energy or even water, housing, medicine, doing research for people who do not have money? Because the government shutting down means you're shutting it down. Society is going to have nothing to do with poor people who are the actual majority. 90% or 95% of people will be without access to resources. It's simple as that, because privatization by the government or privatizing the country means only people with money will buy the country. So the multimillionaires and multi-billionaires, especially multi-billionaires, going to become multi-trillionaires as private individuals buying off the country. And if they like you personally, then they will give you some food, they will give you some energy for you to survive, they will give you medicine if you're sick, because they will control everything. The government will shut down the government, the state will no longer be there, maybe in 100 years time. But it's going to start happening now. I've been saying this again and again, I will be saying it again and again, because I believe it is happening, and it is coming fast and thick and fast, and we should now be preparing for exciting times going forward. And so there are some information here and there, and there are rules on usernames and passwords and so on and so forth. So if you are to be contacted by email, you will need to have an email address and phone number so that the DWP can contact you. Choose an email address and phone number that you use the most. You will be asked how you like to be contacted, and therefore or email or text or by text or some other forms. You can choose whichever you check the most. After you have made your choice, the DWP will send you a code to your email address. If you haven't got an email yet, check your spam or junk folder. It might have gone there. These are actually standard as cyber security information, like internet and things like that, which is useful for everybody if you're using the internet. It's a really important cyber security information. So there will be a space when you set up your account above the make a claim button for you to enter the code. After you have typed it in, select make a claim. These are some of the specifics, and once you have set up your account, you will need to answer questions about your situation. This is called your to-do list. It's best to do this as soon as possible, or it might delay your first payment. Get help answering questions in your universal credit application. If you need help with your universal credit application, you can talk to an advisor. If you're struggling with the cost of claiming universal credit, it must be possible to get help from your local council, or an interest-free loan from the council, or an interest-free loan from the government. Find out how to get extra help. If you have a child under the age of 14 or a disabled child, your local council should help you. They might cover essential living costs, or find somewhere to live. Find your local council on gov.uk. If you struggle to pay for food, find out how to get help from a food bank. We have actually discussed some of these points previously in the other videos. Get help from an advisor if you're struggling with the cost while you're waiting to finish your universal credit application. If you watch the other video, universal credit takes 4 to 5 weeks. you should first check if you are eligible for universal credit. If you are eligible for universal credit, you will usually have to apply for universal credit online on gov.uk. And we have mentioned this before. You will then get an online account which you will use to apply for universal credit and keep your claim up to date. And you will need an email address and phone number to create an online account. And these are actually repeatable points. You can find out how to get an email address on the Which website. Which website is actually a website which is called Which. If you already are applying for universal credit, you might not have to go through the full application process. Again, find out more about applying for universal credit. You can go to gov.uk or any of the other websites, or you can just look or even ask somebody. Usually it's best to apply for universal credit as soon as you can. That way you will get your first payment sooner. If you or your partner aren't a UK citizen, before you apply, you should check if you are eligible for universal credit. Repeatable point, if you are not eligible applying for universal credit, might affect your permission to stay in the UK. This is immigration. It's a complex area because it actually involves benefit and immigration as issued. So if you're moving to universal credit from other benefits, universal credit is placing 6 different benefits called legacy benefits. These are housing benefit, income related employment and support allowance, ESA, income based job seekers allowance, JSA, child tax credit, CTC, working tax credit, WTC, income support, IS. You might have to move to universal credit if your situation changes in certain ways. For example, if you are separate from your partner or move to a different council area, people move and people also change partners. You might also have to move to universal credit if you get a letter from the Department of Work and Pension, a DWP, telling you to claim universal credit by a certain date. You can still move to universal credit if neither of these things have happened, but it's important to think carefully. If you are applying for universal credit, you might get less money. Any legacy benefit you're getting will end, and you won't be able to go back to any of the legacy benefits in the future. Find out more about moving to universal credit from other benefits. These are repeated points. We have discussed it elsewhere. And if you have left your job, you can get a letter. If you have got a letter from DWP telling you to claim universal credit by a certain date. It is called migration notice. You should claim by the date on the letter. If you are waiting to be paid, talk to an advisor. They can help you to work out the best time to make your claim. If the date on the letter is soon, the most important thing is to claim before the date. Check what to do if you have got a migration notice. And if you haven't got a migration notice, you should wait until the day after you get your final wages or any holiday pay from work. And if you get paid after you apply for universal credit, the money will count as income. This means you will get less if you have for universal credit payment. We have mentioned this elsewhere in the other videos, and you should apply as soon as you can if you are only waiting for redundancy pay, because it doesn't count as income. Redundancy pay won't affect how much you will get in your first universal credit payment unless it brings your total amount of savings to over 6,000. We mentioned elsewhere that means tested benefit is generally you have to have 16,000 or more to not get it. But if you have 16,000 in saving or less, you get some benefit, but the more you get toward the 16,000 margin, the less benefit you get. The more benefit, the lower saving of the saving you have, maybe 15,000, 14,000, the more benefit you get up to 6,000. Then when it is 6,000, you will get the full benefit. And 6,000 to less, you get the full benefit. It's so important for people to understand this, especially if you lose your job, because a lot of people actually wait until their savings are depleted, because rent and council tax and gas, electricity, even food takes a lot of money so quickly. So as soon as you lose if you have 16,000 pounds saving, when you lose your job, it's best to claim benefits straight away. And even if you get only 10 pounds, 20 pounds, it could be a passport to help with housing costs, especially if you're in debt with for example, maybe housing benefit or the housing element. Not necessarily, but if you are actually in debt with housing or council tax, or actually in energy and water, or similarly other form of debt, actually you can, especially the ones I've counted, they are the ones I've actually listed. When you are actually in debt in that way, there is a possibility you could get grants, but being in benefit is a passport to getting those grants, to help with rent arrears, to help with council tax debts, actually, also council tax arrears. If you have debt with gas and electricity and with water, normally there are grants given back by the government, which people can get if they are on benefit. Benefit is actually an indicator that you are actually on low income enough to get certain types of help, including help from the social services. So if you've been waiting for your last payment from work and need money, it's best to talk to an advisor before claiming. Timing claims after leaving a job is really important. It's critical. If you haven't got a migration notice, you should delay your claim until the day after you have received your last wages from work. This will ensure your last income from work doesn't get counted in your assessment period. The more income you have in an assessment period, the less universal credit you get. I think that is clear enough. When you should when you should make a claim for universal credit depends on your circumstances. A better off calculation will help work out what's best for you. I actually mentioned in the other video left side, including entitled to, which are actually the ones I use normally when I need to do a calculation, benefit calculation. But also Time to Ask and all the other ones. If you check online, you check, listen to other videos as well, you will find benefit calculation tools which are online. Most of the things are now done online. Once you work out the base date, you should apply as soon as possible. This will reduce the effect of the 5 weeks wait of your first payment. If you become unemployed, for example, on say 1st of April, you claim on the 2nd and get your last wages on the 3rd April. your first universal credit period will be lower because your last wages are taken into account. In that assessment period, you have more money, in other words. So that we talk about timing. And if you wait until 4th of April to claim, your last wages aren't taken into account. Claiming after migration notice, only formal migration notice gives transitional protection under managed migration. If you have a different letter, it doesn't affect when you should claim. If actually you have got a migration notice, you should claim by their final deadline. If you miss the deadline, you will lose the transitional protection from managed migration. The final deadline is a month after your deadline day. Your migration notice will say when your deadline is. If the DWP agreed to expand your deadline day, they will send you a letter confirming the new dates. Your final deadline will be a month after the new date. You can check when your migration deadline is and when what counts as a migration notice. If you have time before the deadline, you might still benefit from waiting until your final pay or a change of circumstance. You should do a better of calculation to compare what you are entitled to, or what entitlement will be if you claim before and after the pay or change of circumstance. You can get a specialist advice, help from the expert advice. Something like that, so to speak. So if you are not able to apply for universal credit online, then you might be able to apply for universal credit over the phone, or in exceptional circumstances, arrange for someone to visit you at home. You can only use these options in certain situations. You might be eligible for if you don't have regular access to the internet, aren't confident using a computer or smartphone, have problems with your sight, have a long-term physical disability or mental health condition which stops you from applying online, have a physical condition that stops you from using a computer or smartphone, if you can't read or write, if you have been released from prison. These are actually some of the rules. Then you can ring a special helpline to apply for universal credit and get support. Universal credit helpline for prison leavers are available online. You can find that out online. If you watch this video, I've given plenty of opportunity to figure out where you can get this information. And Gov.uk and other organizations, Citizen Advice, Shelter, and all these are the ones I can think for now, but the main one is Gov.uk is the main source of this information, but also Citizen Advice. Citizen Advice is actually the biggest advice service in the United Kingdom, so it focuses on social policy objectives in terms of delivery and also implementing government policy in this area. And they are extremely useful, but even by their own standard, they are now struggling because of funding. And they may or may not tell you, but everybody should smell a rat if the government is shutting down. And now actually every politician is now speaking in jargon, if you like, which is either a good thing or not. So if you need help working hard, you can claim by phone or have a home visit. You can talk to one of our advisors to make a phone claim or arrange a home visit. You will then need to ring the Universal Credit Helpline. Someone else can call you. When you call, you will hear several options. Choose Universal Credit series queries, and these are actually familiar to many people because many people actually have gone through benefit one way or the other: child benefit, pension, sickness benefit. So you also have the right to claim by phone if that's best for you. You will need to explain why you can't make an online claim. For example, if you have low digital skills or limited internet access. It's a repeated point which are important. You can check eligibility for non-digital applications in the DWP internal guidance. You can quote guidance when making a phone claim on someone else's behalf. Sometimes your family can contact the DWP on your behalf if you are not able. An advisor can contact DWP on your behalf if you are not able. And you give them permission, consent, and there are actually procedures to do that. If you are correctly told you couldn't apply by phone and then made an online claim, then you can challenge the DWP decision by asking for a mandatory reconsideration. Mandatory reconsideration is something which reflects your right to actually challenge the DWP and also eventually, if needed, to appeal. So you can contact the DWP. You can be contacted also by somebody else, or a professional, or a family or a friend can always do that. It's generally acceptable, subject to your consent also to the procedure of doing that. And you must give explicit consent to the DWP if you want someone else to access your information and act on your behalf. Just like I said, explicit consent does not last forever. It usually lasts until either the specific request is completed, the assessment period after 1 month in which the consent was given has ended. It's best to ask for the claimant's case manager if they have one. If you don't know your case manager's name, the DWP will be able to find this out. This always helps, and you have to work for what you need, and getting help is actually hard work. And there are people who would want somebody else to do it for them. Sometimes it works, but most of the time, increasingly, you have to start learning to do things for yourself. It's called being independent. It's empowerment, and we like that. But we have to work to achieve that level of independence. In either case, the DWP will ask you as a claimant your telephone number, and the one they gave when they registered you for Universal Credit, the postcode and the first line of your address, date of birth. These are actually personal information. So there are helplines which is known help to claim, which you can actually always use if you have to claim advisor. For example, if you have an advisor helping you to claim, then and they can actually contact the DWP's high priority phone line to help eligible clients access a universal credit fund claim. This would be if you are listening, watching this video, and you are an advisor, this is relevant to you. And I've been focusing on assuming that everybody will be a client, but some information actually for advisors, for fresh professionals. Some information can also be for other people. Mainly, I mean, you can always get one information or another. So, eligible client access universal credit by phone, phone claim or home visit. This is a dedicated number for citizen advice. For example, advisors giving advice as part of the help to claim service. So when you tell the DWP advisor your name and organization, explain that because there are advisors everywhere. At the DWP, there are also advisors. And local council, they are always, wherever you go, you will find advisors. I mean, only if the government could fund these services are actually in need. Advisors are needed everywhere. You will need to stay on the call until it ends. This is because the line is the for vulnerable clients who need extra support. If you can talk to the DWP by yourself, and then you will need to phone the main universal helpline. Don't give the priority number. The priority number will be not given to you by the authorities, but there will be number you will use in the alternative. A universal credit advisor on a helpline phone may or may not be provided online, but you have to use what you actually available to you. Which, if you are an advisor or a professional or just a client, you need to decide which one you're going to use. Normally, calls are free from mobile number and landlines. Normally, they are open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. So sometimes it takes a while to get through someone and tell this person to speak. You speak to why you can't apply online. Then they can ask you some questions to check you're eligible before going through the next steps of the application with you. You are eligible for a phone claim or home visit. If the job center and the DWP will keep in touch with you by either texting, phoning, sending letters, visiting you in person, and they will ask which is easiest for you when you apply. If you start an online application form, you will need to apply for universal credit online on gov.uk. This is repeated information. You will first need to enter your postcode. If you don't have an address, you can enter the postcode of your nearest job center. You can find the address of your nearest job center on gov.uk. Job center, if you don't have a computer or internet access, you can use the internet and the computer for free at your local job center, local council. You can use the local library, and if you have a partner, you will need to make a joint claim. If you live with your partner and you are either married and a civil partnership, living together as a couple, if your partner isn't eligible for universal credit, you should still make a joint claim, because the DWP need to know about both your incomes. The DWP will change your claim to a single claim when they process your application. This means you or your partner will be paid as if you are a single person. You should make a single claim if you are permanently separated from your partner, even if you still live in the same property, you have been temporarily apart from your partner for at least 6 months, you are going to be temporarily apart from your partner for at least 6 months. If you are living with your ex-partner also, you will be treated as a single person if you are permanently separated from your partner, even if you are still living in the same property. If you can show you are living in a separate household, your ex-partner your ex-partner's income and capital won't be considered as part of your claim, because if you live together, even if you are making separate claims, the income of the other person will be taken into account in assessing your universal credit. DWP have defined the term household as, and so they make decisions on a case-by-case basis, and on a case-by-case basis, you might be able to prove you are living in a separate household by showing you cook and eat meals separately. These little information and details are really fundamental to the DWP. And if you have separate financial arrangements, have no future plans, you can always check these resources, this information in various resources to make a joint claim. You'll both need to open separate accounts, and you will be asked during the application if you live with your partner. And if you do, you will get a linking code. When your partner sets up their account, they should type in this linking code to join their account to yours. This turns your claim into a joint claim. You shouldn't create an account at the same time as your partner. It doesn't matter to create their account first. You'll both be able to log into your account separately. When when you are with a partner, you will be paid as a single person. The DWP will convert the joint claim to a single claim if either you or your partner isn't allowed to claim public funds, is considered habitually resident, doesn't have a right to reside when they need one, is under 18 and not someone who can be eligible for universal credit at 16 or 17. Check when a 16-year-old or 17-year-old can claim universal credit. Is living outside Great Britain and not a crown servant or member of the armed forces. Forces overseas, is a prisoner in prison waiting for their trial or serving a prison sentence while detained in hospital, is a member of a religious order that pays for all their housing and living expenses. And the person who is eligible for universal credit will be paid as if they are a single person. They still need to start by making a joint claim. The DWP will add their income and capital to their partners to work out how much universal credit you will get. So we're going to look at username and password. I think these information are repeatable, so don't worry too much about it. You will be asked to make a username and password. You will use these to log into your universal credit account. It is important that no one else can get into your account without your permission. If you have made a joint claim, don't share your username and password with your partner. You should make your username and password strong and memorable. You should read how to create a strong and memorable password on gov.uk. And it's best if you learn your username and password and don't keep them written down anywhere. Now you need to answer a couple of security questions like where were you born or what was the name of the street you grew up on. You will ask one of these questions every time you log into your account. You might be asked to add extra security to your account called two-factor authentication. This is optional. If you agree, you will be sent one time to enter one-time passcode to your mobile phone. You will then need to enter this code on your account. You will be sent a new code each time you log in or use a new device, unless you log in on the same device within 24 hours. And you will be given a 16-digit personal security number, PSN, after your first universal credit interview with the work coach. You will meet them regularly as part of your universal credit claim. It's important to keep the personal security number safe. You will need it if you ever need to create a new password. Helping clients, someone like you, remember your login, and you shouldn't usually keep your username and password written down. And you could use a password manager on your phone. And if you have one, these are free apps that can securely store usernames and password. You will need to backup plan to remember your username or password in case they forget. If you choose to write them down, then you should keep them on separate pieces of paper. The paper shouldn't refer to universal credit, after claim, or citizen advice. If a client gets locked out of their account, if you get locked out of your account, then you can reset your password using the personal security member they get from the DWP at their first work coach meeting. You should not store username or password on any other public spaces. You can choose to be contacted by email or by text messages. You will need to have an email address or phone number so that the DWP can contact you. Choose an email address and a phone number that you can you use the most. You will be asked how you like to be contacted, email or text. Choose whichever you check the most. After you've made your choice, the DWP will send a code to your email address. If you haven't got an email yet, check your spam or junk folder. It might have gone there. There will be a separate space when you set up your account above the Make a Claim button for you to enter the code. After you have typed it in, select Make a Claim. Once you have set up your account, you will need to answer questions about your situation. This is called your to-do list. It is best to do this as soon as possible, or it might delay the first payment. Get help answering questions in your universal credit application. If you need help with your universal credit application, you can talk to an advisor. If you are struggling with costs while claiming universal credit, it might be possible for you to get help from your local council or an interest-free loan from the government. Find out how to get extra help if you have a child under the age of 14 or a disabled child. Your local council should help you. You might cover essential living costs or to find somewhere to live for your local council or gov.uk. If you are struggling to pay for food, find out how to get food from food bank. Get help from professionals, advisors if you are struggling with costs while waiting to finish your universal credit application. We're going to stop this program here and continue next time. Some of this information, a lot of them are repeatable. Thank you so much for keeping with me, and I'm so grateful that you stayed. And like I said, this is your life in the UK. It's an example of what is happening in the United Kingdom, and also this is similar to what is happening in any developed world. There are actually social policy which actually provide financial help to citizens, non-citizen people who reside, who live in the United Kingdom, within certain in certain situation. What happened in developed world or in America was in America or in Asia is more or less also similarly in terms of policy happening in Africa. You have people need to realize that welfare system include, in terms of money, also include pension, and in the developed world, especially in the United Kingdom, there's something called child benefit, money given to children, but also there is also sickness benefit if you're sick. It may not be in Africa, but in Africa there are schools, hospitals, public transport, and many other things. Maybe to a limited degree, maybe housing, or whatever government does to invest in social capital. That is actually part of social welfare, and this is ending because of capitalism, because of privatization, because of globalization. And very rapidly the state will be withdrawing. If you live in Africa, especially if you struggle to send your child to school, if you live in such a level degree of poverty as not even knowing what you're going to eat or drink, or whether you're going to sleep, if you're sick. I mean, there are places in Africa you should not feel sick, because people have lost the ability to treat themselves. They are, for decades they have relied on the state, but now the state is closing down. And do a research if you're a child, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, be a researcher, go to the library, go and play in the park. But at some point, go to the library and read about policy. Start acting like an adult, but being responsible for your life, because your adults, your parents might not be there. They may run away from home because of poverty. And then you'll be left. Either you go onto the street, or you go into the bush and build your own house and cut trees to keep warm, kill wild animals and use their skin. If you break the law, you'll be arrested by the authorities. Learn to live in prison also. Or before you go to prison, learn how to understand what the law says. If you're going to live in the bushes, whose land are you accessing? What does the law say? If you're not sure, ask the police. If you have access to a lawyer, ask a lawyer. If I go and actually stay in the forest and start cutting trees down and building my own house in the forest and starting fire in the forest to keep warm, killing, I don't know what you're going to kill, rats. You're going to kill rats and mouse. You're going to eat strange things in the bushes. That is up to you. Because if the government are shut down, the law may still linger, but ultimately there will be lawlessness. If we don't learn our culture will actually emancipate, will actually deliver us, will actually free us from the law. We have the law because we are culturally limited in our education. We still fight on the street. We fight our brothers and sisters, our siblings at home, over chocolate, over tea, over whatever. Our parents are still fighting. There are divorces. People are divorcing. Children are growing without parents, complete parentage. This is because culturally we are actually suffering. We need to learn the value of life, the value of our life as a species, as people. And this is called cultural economy. Compared and contrasted with developmental economy, money, wealth, power, government, economy, these are development, part of progress. So we look at these two and make it balance so that we obtain stability and peace and happiness. Thank you for watching this, and make sure you share with family and friends, and try to enjoy the video. Even if you are not enjoying it, pretend you're enjoying it. Try to understand what I've been saying, even if you don't understand it. If you have a chance, if you are now still watching, then say thank you to yourself 1,001 times, and thank you so much. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.